Good evening. If you would like to listen to a 41-year-old grown adult drone on for 10, 15, 20 minutes about all of the inline skating products he has been using lately, you've come to the right place. I'll quickly open it up with this setup. We filmed the doses edit. I was using the Intuition Premium 995 in this 2016 linerless Seba shell with the FR Patier cuff, and these frames, this setup has grown on me a lot. What you didn't see in the edit is the no striding shots. We would have to skate back towards the camera, and the lightness and speed of this setup is so fun. The coast of these wheels is so fun. These wheels, the colors of them, and Todd's design, they almost look like they glow in the dark when you see them in person. I'm just a big fan of this setup, and I actually have not skated it enough. The bearings in these ones are the Quick Swiss. I think Quick spelled K-W-I-K. Cletus from Wish recommended them. They've been really good. I need to use them more. The problem is, I wanted to skate this setup more this summer, but we have very focused projects and wheel edits that we're working on, so I haven't done as much exercise skating as I would like outside of filming that edit, but I thought that I would always use Wizard 100s or 110s for distance skating, but the tree wheel has really grown on me a lot, and I'm excited to have this frame to use on more boots. This frame will be making more appearances over the years. Specifically, FR makes some really nice boots that I'm excited to use with this frame. So that's the tree wheels. I'm a tree wheel believer now in terms of distance skating. Next up, probably one of the most disappointing returns to a shell where I thought it was going to be a great time. The problem was I was skating it with the RL2 liner, and it accentuated how sloppy this shell is in the heat. Look at that. Look at this. Look at this. I almost feel like I could rip the sole plate off the bottom of this, and if you just look at the cuff here, this felt awful. It's really too bad because I skated very good in this setup with it's the first edition, the Intuition V1 I had with super feet, and the classic Wish with 54mm in the middle, 65 on the outside. I killed it in that setup. So I think maybe I have to return to that setup or a version of that setup with the updated M12 shell, because apparently the plastic felt stiffer on the 1992, and I really enjoy that skate. So the Hazelton skate is really nice looking. You can find it for cheap, so I might go down that route eventually. But I will say, I feel as though now that I've tried Mesmer and skated 909, even in a way, the Roces SL, which I'll talk about, this shell has fallen from grace and just needs some. It still works. It's still great. Memory, buckle, riveted cuff, great. Sole plate, still great. It just needs a few updates. I was saying earlier to somebody that even the two bolts in the back, these sometimes the heel pulls off because the UFS bolts don't go through the shell. So disappointing return, but I'm going to blame it on the RL2 and the soft plastic for now. Next up, an experience that was so bad that I had to switch out my frames mid-session. This product also, I've tried it multiple times and I end up selling it, and it feels instantaneously bad every time I skate them, and that is Create Originals frames. These are the 260, which is, I think that's the large. which is a great frame length. So it has that going for it, and it has, I guess, the groove going for it. You could describe the feel of this frame as a giant, soggy, sloppy grind plate that you just put on your skate, and your skates become grind shoes with wheels. I'll need to try them flat 56 and give them one more shot, but I could feel the frame. I swear I could feel it flexing and slowing down when I was skating through the parking lot. And that there's the path going into the park. It's always a good test roll to see how long you can coast, and they were so slow and sluggish. I think it's to do with how thin the top part of the walls are in the middle here, how thin that is, and that there's no braces where the UFS bolts are. But if you really enjoy grinding and you want to be cool and get core points, this is the frame for you. I can't believe how popular these are and how many people like them. They're really bad, but I base a lot of my preferences on the way something feels for skating around, and these feel really bad for that. Really bad. But get some dead wheels, get some Create Originals, put them on some 909s, make sure you have the right pants, the right shirt, and people will likely say that your skating is sick because you have the right thing. M12's Create Originals, very disappointing. Tree wheel skate, good. The frame that I switched to, I think the day that I switched out of the Create Originals, I switched to the Prime frame. Now this is where I'll briefly talk about Prime and Balance 2. I filmed mostly in the Balance 2 for the anti-rocker. The toes edit filmed all in anti-rocker. The main reason was these are super fast, super light, super responsive, but if you're filming a lot, which we were, your body will get more sore with the metal. Especially anti, it's taking all the impact there and there. One thing that's great is if you're skating them with Mesmers, you have the P-backs and you have the shock absorber layer between the shell and the boot, which seem to help. But still, if you're not perfect with your landing form, shock absorption with your knees, primes hurt a bit more. But I love the groove on these. I love them for flat and anti. It's incredible that you can skate 60 flat and go super fast and still do all the Royale tricks, because the split is a lot bigger. This one rides just a touch lower than this one. I love how streamlined this is. This is like, for me, this is the Sola frames, but good, but they hurt your body more. And this is just so classic. The groove is amazing for flat or anti. It's specifically very, very good for anti, I found. And just the 50, something about like the 50-50 groove and the look of the frame on the Mesmer boot it's just such a classic frame. It's to the point where, this was the 250 size, the small and the small. If I'm skating anti-rocker, it's gonna be on the smalls, but I have skated both the large and the small, or maybe it's small and medium for 50-50. Can't remember. I skated all the sizes of both Prime and Balance 2. Always the small size for anti-rocker, and I do a bit of both for flat, depending on what you want to do. So that's the quick Balance and Balance 2. You really can't go wrong. Like, I think it's something that bothers me that 50-50 and Wish seem underrated to me, where them frames and Creates are like considered the core points frames. It's bizarre. I understand that it's just marketing, the perception, the illusion of one thing's cooler. Or maybe, I don't know. I can't speak too much on that, but I find this frame particularly is still really underrated if you skate a lot of park. If you skate a lot of street and rough pavement, this is the one for you, the Balance 2. I also prefer when these juice pumps wear down a little bit. Cess slides aren't that important to me, but I guess it's a cool nostalgic thing to have on the frame. And sometimes for topsides they slide a little bit better, but can be harder to control. And I tried a bunch of different eddies, and the Chroma ones, Chroma and Eulogy have been my favorite. The dead ones, the shape, they're too small, and I can still get wheel bite with these ones. But I keep losing core points with my preferences. So my verdict, you heard of everything about Balance Mounts too. It's like medium and classic Wish. If you can afford to have both in your arsenal and switch around, I would recommend it. Next, a skate that surprised me on the yellow curb was the Roces SL. It grinds really well, like a Rems. It's low to the ground. It looks like it has the juice fin, but I don't think it does. The backslide, the Royale, is frustratingly easy and not close enough to the boot, but if you don't want to bend your knees much, it's a good skate for that. It's wide and sloppy, but I understand that it works. It's probably one of the ugliest skates for look down. It's probably one of the ugliest skates from the side. I don't feel good when I have them on my feet. They remind me of Aeons too in the look down. But returning to them, I totally understand why this is a popular skate that just works for lots of people. The second session where I skated park in them, I posted that one clip. It was a switch Miz to backslide. They were really sloppy in the heat. And the sogginess of the base, which was the original thing that I really hated about this skate, came through intensely. You can just feel that lack of material between the boot and the frame sogging out. And a side note, these undercover wheels, I don't know if you can see, that one yellow curb session, they chunked really bad. They're super fast, still good quality wheels in terms of like the feel, but holy, they chunked. Within the session, I think it was 20 minutes or half an hour, they chunked the 88A. It could be the black urethane or this one specific pour, but the yellow curb is a really good tester for urethane. And although this was fast, these would have been gone in an hour in the heat. I will be skating this more, but soggy, sloppy, ugly, grinds well. I understand why it works for a lot of people. I'll be skating this with Classic Wish too. I need to try this with Classic Wish. Look how gross that is. Quick thing, I hadn't skated these. Testing different hardnesses of wheels for what we might want to do in 2024. And these Yandreal Chromas in 5892, I skated them on the M12s, and they were the most fun part of that session with the bad M12s and the RL2s. So I'm excited to eventually make different hardness 58s, just not sure what direction yet. But 52 in the face profile was really fun, really nice. Should I skate, I always want to call them jug liners, but this is just as dorky. Should I skate these rain liners? Should I skate rain liners with Featherlight frames anti on the SL? You tell me. This is, to some people, this is the best liner ever made. So tell me if I should try them. It's got the neoprene toe to make your skate feel even sloppier. It's got perceived comfort with that nice thick padding that makes you think that it's comfortable. The tongue surprised me though. They actually got the tongue right on this one. A lot of companies don't get the tongue right. That's all I ask on my adapts is just a stiff tongue, like a molded, stiffer tongue. Is that so hard to put on an adapt? It would change the feel of the skate so much. Anyways, let me know if I should try these. Next, I'm extremely disappointed that the Wizard boots and Wizard liners have not restocked. And I can tell you, if you look in one of our old videos, it was NBA maybe, I was skating a sample of something in a 42 that was way too narrow for my foot. So if something new was to be released soon, I would probably have to get it in a 43, or I might actually prefer the old Wizard boot, the linerless CJ SX. These are the boots. I'm running so low, and I think I have these ones. Sorry for that sound. These are my last pair of Wizard boots that are holding together, and they have the old toe box, so it's the 43. My 42 that I loved and skated to death, how I broke when I was skating the Wizard Advance on like a toe press. I pulled this right out, and they're not really usable anymore because the strap is so important. So this is that boot from Zone. So these are coming on, I don't know, 10 years old or 9 years old. This is all glued together. This is super sloppy. The fit wasn't fully dialed, and I found a fresh cuff, thankfully, when I was cleaning out the garage. I have more skate stuff than I thought. I almost ordered dead wheels in black because I wanted to mix them in with our green wheels. And then I just found a pair of Featherlight Free 3s in my stack of frames that had black dead wheels. So I really need to organize the garage because I also found a fresh pair of CJ cuffs that I didn't know I had. It's not good when you're almost purchasing stuff that you have. Talked about this before. Like, not only is this boot fully falling apart, I could probably just pull this right off. So when you pull the laces, it almost comes out. But this liner, the tongue piece, the foam has like, that part's okay, but the foam has almost deteriorated on that pressure point forward. And then also right here, I still maybe need to glue a new piece to this, but it's really sloppy in the ankle mixed with the sloppiness of this. I can't skate these in the heat. It feels like the skate might fall apart any moment, and if you were like leaning into a turn and then this soft boot part just pulled off. So I'm really sad I haven't been able to skate the Wizard 110s. I have to wait for whatever's coming out. And there's really not a lot of boots that I'll be able to use with this right now. And Icon is a no-go. Just my morals and principles. Can't do Icon. If they're on sale for like $50, maybe. Factions look way too sloppy as well. So until I get a new fresh Wizard boot of some kind, I can't skate the 110s. They were fine in the winter, they're not good in the heat. Disappointing. These are basically not usable. I should just throw these out, save the cuff. I don't know if the liner can be saved. I think it's at the point where I need to replace it. Lastly, very quickly, here's the T-neck frames. I will be skating them with I think 58s or 60s. Those walls are looking pretty thick, so I need a wide profile wheel. That new Chroma 58 profile would be good. I think I have some older undercovers that would be good. Probably skate 60s in these. Lastly, I will talk about, so this is the longest, since starting the Patreon, this is the longest I've skated something in a row for many sessions. I've enjoyed every frame setup on these apart from Create Originals. Currently in the large 250, so 270, 5692 in the middle, 5688 on the outside. This setup is so fun, and I can't wait to skate it more. It's low, it's swivelly, it's stable. You can do deeper carves on this. One thing I'll quickly say that I forgot to say about the prime walls, I love how thin the walls are on these. These are streamlined too, but you have to wear down the juice pumps. Anyways, you can do a lot of shit in this setup. I can see why Colin Kelso raves about the mixed hardness, and I think Sean Kelso does it too. I've skated these 3 or 4 times, and the 92 still have the line on the middle, which is impressive in the heat. Now, a few points I'll say. I've already said this. This thing is annoying and cheap. I always have to tighten it. The cuff moves back and forth. I already talked about that. It feels weird that that you can move it back and forth. My left heel, it's almost like it's like a bruise or an ache that I get from the skate because of the way the heel works. So I understand why people talk about the tight heel. I have skinny heels, so I can't imagine people with a wider foot trying to skate the skate. There's a sloppiness to this skate where you have to relace it multiple times, and almost like no matter if you do this up too tight, the cuff feels really weird and restrictive in an unnatural way, that it doesn't really bend forward or back. That's where it needs the V-cut, and that I think the V-cut would help it a lot. But yes, every once in a while you have to like stop and relace, and then I love the way it feels without a shock absorber, but I get heel lift, just a little bit of heel lift in the skate, and it's so weird that it feels wide and sloppy sometimes here, but then it's tight fitting and responsive at the same time. The P-Bex totally saves the sloppiness of the cuff. It's so hard to explain. You can see it in footage sometimes. The way I can explain it is that you can sometimes see the liner move back and forth because of the width of here, and that wanting to toe point that this will just lift up. So that's my biggest gripes, is the cuff receptor, minor. This cuff slides back and forth. The cuff shape is weird, and something about the heel is weird on this skate. But this is still my favorite skate. Going back to the M12 or the 909 has just shown how good this skate is. I still highly recommend it. The sole plate is wearing amazing. My groove is dialed. I tried to see if I could get black soles for these, and they seem to be out of stock in the 8.9, and they're really expensive too, so I'll just keep running these into the ground. That's everything I think about this skate. I'm excited to try an updated version with the V-cut and the extra lace hole, but the team one is not P-Bex, so I will wait until they release a P-Bex version. This cuff is weird. It's restrictive, and then this can be sloppy. You'll have to skate it to find out for yourself. That's everything. Keep skating or something. Now I might go see Oppenheimer, but it starts at 10 and goes until 1. I have to work the next day, so hard to say. Plenty more to come. Thanks everybody for supporting, representing, watching. Ugh. In theory, I thought I was going to be so dope when I put these on. It just wasn't happening. Okay, good night.